I am 73 years old. If you are lucky, really lucky, you will get to be 73 too. But as I sit here today, looking back at the long road behind me, I have a confession to make. I've only really been alive for the last 21 years. Before that, for the first 52 years of my existence, I wasn't living. I was performing. I was auditioning for a role that didn't exist, in a play that nobody was truly watching. I look at young people today, and by young, I mean anyone still in the heat of the race, anyone under 50. And I see that same frantic energy that used to fuel me. I see the anxiety in your eyes. I see the way you constantly check your phone, the way you're always mentally 3 steps ahead of where your feet actually are. I see the belief that if you just run a little faster, if you just climb one more rung, you'll finally reach that horizon where everything is calm and settled and enough. I'm here to tell you something from the finish line. You never catch the horizon. And if you spend your whole life running toward it, you're going to miss the ground beneath your feet right now. It took a chest pain that felt like an elephant sitting on my sternum on a random Tuesday afternoon to teach me that. It took the world turning black to finally make me see. Let's talk about the before. At 50 on paper, I was a titan. I had the title on the door that made people straighten their ties when I walked into a room. I had the house in the right zip code. I had a handshake that communicated nothing but cold confidence and a calendar that was color-coded to the minute. I was the guy who always said, "I just need to get through this week," or "Things will finally calm down after this quarter." I lived entirely in the future tense. My joy was always deferred, like a payment I'd collect in a retirement that felt 1,000 years away. I wasn't working for today, I was working for someday. Someday I'd take my wife to Italy, and I wouldn't check my email once. Someday I'd actually read those books on my shelf instead of just using them as a backdrop for video calls. Someday I'd sit with my children and really listen to them without mentally drafting a response to a client or checking the clock. I treated my life like a waiting room for a better life that was always just around the corner. I traded sunsets for spreadsheets. I traded school plays for conference calls in airport lounges. And the worst part is, I convinced myself it was noble. I told myself I was a provider. What a seductive, dangerous lie that is. It's the lie that allows you to neglect every emotional need of the people you love while pretending you're sacrificing yourself for their benefit. I was providing everything except the one thing they actually wanted: my presence. Then came age 52. That was the year the performance ended. A massive cardiac event. That's the polite medical term for the moment your body finally decides it's had enough of your pride. Lying in that ICU bed, tethered to machines that were doing the breathing for me, a terrifying clarity washed over me. It was colder than the hospital air. All the noise stopped. The deadlines, the quotas, the opinions of my peers, it all instantly evaporated. And I realized something that chilled me to the bone. If I died right then, my biggest regret wouldn't be a failed business deal. It wouldn't be that I didn't buy that vacation home. My regret was the profound, echoing emptiness of the life I had constructed. I realized that I didn't know my adult children. Not really. I knew their statistics, their jobs, where they lived, their grades, but I didn't know their fears. I didn't know what made their hearts sing, because I was never still enough to ask, and I was never quiet enough to hear the answer. I realized I hadn't had a genuine, unguarded conversation with my wife in a decade because we were too busy managing our household partnership. I looked around that sterile room and I realized that none of my awards could hold my hand. My bank account couldn't comfort me because I was terrified of what lay beyond the dark. I had spent 52 years building a magnificent sandcastle, and the tide had just come in. They managed to patch me up. Stents, medication, and a second chance that, frankly, I didn't deserve. But the man who left that hospital wasn't the same man who went in. The Titan died in that ICU. The recovery was brutal, but not just physically. I had to deprogram myself from 5 decades of hustle culture. I had to learn the agonizingly difficult skill of doing nothing. I had to learn how to sit in a chair and watch the birds for 20 minutes without feeling a spike of adrenaline telling me I was being unproductive. In that long, quiet recovery, I learned 3 hard truths that I want to give to you now, so you don't have to pay the price I did to learn them. The first truth: busyness is not a virtue, it's an anesthetic. We keep ourselves busy so we don't have to sit with the uncomfortable questions about who we really are and what we're actually doing here. We use our to-do lists to drown out the silence of our own souls. If you are always busy, you are never present. And if you are never present, you are effectively absent from your own life. The second truth: time is not money. That is the most poisonous phrase in the human language. Money is renewable. You can lose a fortune and make it back. You can go bankrupt and start over. But time is non-renewable. Every second you just spent listening to me is gone forever. You can't earn it back. You can't save it in a high-yield account. And you can't negotiate for more. Treat your time like the rarest commodity on earth, because it is. The third truth: your legacy isn't what you build, it's who you touch. People will not remember your job title at your funeral. They will not talk about your salary or your car. They will remember how you made them feel when they were in pain. They will remember if you looked them in the eye when they spoke. They will remember if you were there. At 73, my life is much smaller now, and it is infinitely richer. I walk slower, not just because my knees ache, but because I finally realized there's nowhere I need to be that's more important than where I am. I listen longer. I eat my breakfast without a screen in front of my face. I look at my wife, really look at her, and I see the girl I fell in love with 50 years ago. I thank God every morning that I didn't miss the chance to reintroduce myself to her. I am happier now, at 73, with much less time remaining, than I ever was when I thought I had forever, because I've stopped waiting. Please, I am begging you, don't wait for a heart attack to wake you up. Don't wait for a diagnosis. Don't wait for the kids to move out. Don't wait for the perfect time to start being the person you actually want to be. The someday you are waiting for is a ghost. It doesn't exist. All you have is right now, this messy, imperfect, beautiful moment. Stop auditioning for your life. Start living it, because the curtain comes down much sooner than you think, and there are no encores. If you died tomorrow, would you be satisfied with the story you've written so far? If the answer is no, then today is the day you pick up the pen and change the ending. Don't waste your life waiting to begin.